Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons, and welcome to the channel that brings power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell TSUNAMI. This is an 8th level spell usable by druids. We are giving this spell a C+ for a very specific reason. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right. TSUNAMI is an 8th level spell. It is a casting time of 1 minute. We have a way of getting around that. It's not an easy way, but this one requires 1 minute of casting. It does a whole bunch of great stuff, but it takes 1 minute, so you probably will not be casting this inside combat, on the fly, when you think you would need it. You'll be casting this when you're in a situation in which you know you're going to have enemies in 1 minute. So, you know, it's more or less a near combat casting of a spell. It has a range of sight, verbal, and somatic components. It lasts for 6 rounds and does require concentration. So a wall of water springs into existence at a point you choose within range, which is sight. You can make the wall up to 300 feet long, 300 feet high, and 50 feet thick. The wall lasts for the duration. You can make the wall up to 300 feet high, but you want to make it 300 feet high because it loses height every single round. So you want to get the max out of it. When the wall appears, each creature within the area must make a strength saving throw. We don't like those. On a failed save, the creature takes 60-10 bludgeoning damage, or half as much. On a successful save, that is going to be what average damage here? 6d10 is a 5.5 times 6, which is going to be an average of 33 points of damage. At the start of each of your turns, after the wall appears, the wall, along with any creatures in it, move 50 feet away from you. How do creatures get out of the wall? We're going to talk about that. That's the last paragraph, which I think should have been the third paragraph instead of this one, but that's okay. Any huge or smaller creature inside, so the wall does damage to anything no matter what. Any huge or smaller creature inside the wall or whose space the wall enters when it moves must succeed on a strength saving throw or take 5d10 bludgeoning damage because it is now 50 feet shorter. A creature can take this damage only once per round. At the end of the turn, the wall's height is reduced by 50 feet, and the damage creatures take from the spell on subsequent rounds is reduced by 1d10. When the wall reaches 0, the spell ends. So it starts at 60-10, and then it goes 300 feet high, then it goes to 5d10 at 250 feet high, and then 4d10, and then 3d10, and then 2d10, and then 1d10, and then nothing. Okay, here's how creatures get out. A creature caught in the wall can move by swimming. So if you get hit by the wall, whether you make your save or not, you are caught, period. Because of the force of the wave, though, the creature must make a strength athletics check against your spell DC in order to move at all. So if it takes damage, whether it made its save or not, it's in the wall and it's got to get out. It's because it's in the space. So you create it. A whole bunch of creatures are inside the water. They're in the space. And now they got to get out, and they got to make this strength athletics check against your spell DC. And at this level, it should be around a 20. If it fails to check, it cannot move. A creature that moves out of the wall, out of the area, falls to the ground. Now, the question is, how far does it fall? I mean, is it trapped at the bottom level of the wall? Is it trapped 300 feet up? In which case, it's going to take a whole bunch of damage. That is up to DM's interpretation. You know, maybe the wall appeared and it sucked everything up right to the top, and then they got out. You know, that would make the spell really bad. But again, it does take a minute to cast this spell, so I would argue that might be something that could happen. All right, let's talk about pros and cons of this spell. Pro: It has a range of sight, so its range is massive. And it needs to have a range of sight because it does have a casting time of 1 minute. You are pretty much going to get stuck in the wall regardless of whether you save or not. The only way to get out of it once you're in it is to do that strength check. And making your save doesn't make you exempt from the movement penalties of the wall. It does pretty good damage. So it's going to do, on average, on the first turn, 33, and then on the second turn, 27. So in 2 turns, it's going to do 60 points of damage to everything in it if they fail their save. Again, it's a strength save, so, and then so on and so forth. I think by the end, it gets close to 100 points of damage. It affects huge or smaller creatures with the movement. And you can move things away from you. That's another great thing, too. And they move 50 feet away from you. So you catch them, and then they move. But you have to it's at the start of each of your turns. So when you cast the spell, that's beyond the start of your turn. Okay, cons for this spell. The big, giant, massive one for this one is a 1 minute casting time, but we're going to talk about that. Second con is a strength save. A lot of things are very easily can get out of a strength save. If you happen to have a wizard in the party, or there's a way to cast this spell as an action, and if you're a wizard, you can do it. The portent ability is good. If you have a bard in the party that can do unsettling words, that's a good thing too. At this level, that unsettling words die is pretty high. It's D10 or D12. Druids only, that's another con. But Mystic Arcanum and Magical Secrets means bards and warlocks could get this if they'd like. All right. So how are we going to get around the 1 minute casting time for this spell and make this spell really good? Because if we can get around the 1 minute casting time for this, I actually think this goes up to about an A-. Well, here we are, Wish. Casting time, 1 action. The basic use of this is to duplicate any other spell of 8th level or lower. You do not need to meet any requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect. Here we go. I now have a tsunami, and if I happen to be a wizard, I have a portent to make things fail their saving throw, so they take full damage. And now I've got a 1 action tsunami that allows me to move it on every one of my turns and to really have a massive effect. All right, what is another spell that is really good with this? Well, because things stuck in here have to make a strength athletics check, there is Hex. And of course, and this is a first level spell, this is the power of Hex. Choose 1 ability when you cast a spell. The target has disadvantage on ability checks made with this chosen ability. Now all of a sudden they've got disadvantage on strength checks. So now they're trying to make, they may have a really, really high strength, but now they're trying to make a strength athletics check at disadvantage against a pretty high number, which is equal to your spell DC, which should be a 20. So that makes it a lot worse and a lot worth it. All right. That is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.